No. I just want to share a beautiful idea from the Lubavitch Rebbe and Chassidus on this Shabbos, Parshas Bereishis. First of all, it's wonderful to not have to pray for the return of the hostages, that they've been returned. And we must never forget the savagery that killed 1,200 Jews, murdered 75 hostages, that took children, burnt them alive. These people are worse than the Nazis. The Nazis were savages, but at least they were kind of sterile savages. These are savages with the greatest sadism. Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, ISIS, they're all the same. It's the barbarism and terrorism of an Islamic ideology that believes that they have to literally kill you savagely, and somehow this is part of their elevation to heaven. And, I spoke to somebody who was telling me, like, oh, it's so wonderful. The hostages are out. We have peace. I said, no, we're never going to have peace until the Mashiach comes. We should not kid ourselves for a moment. Until evil is annihilated, probably spiritually, because physically, basically, when we get comfortable, we get lazy. We don't deal with problems because we don't want to deal with problems. And as Aristotle said, big problems come from small problems. We don't have a small problem. We have a huge problem. So catastrophes come from huge problems. We have at least 50 million people, many more being educated every single year in this ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood. According to Egyptian newspapers, Obama was part of it. He certainly established a Muslim Brotherhood government in Cairo, which the army had to throw out. As we speak now, could very well be there are Muslim Brotherhood members in the State Department. He brought that in. I think Trump wanted to get rid of them, but I'm not sure if he was able to or not. We're talking about a deep penetration of an ideology that literally believes whatever they did to ISIS, they have to do to you. And we should not kid ourselves that we are safe. And part of that is not obviously I'm not here to promote fear, but we should know that until God himself is going to save us, no government in this world is going to save us. Every single empire has collapsed because basically when we get prosperous, we get lazy. We don't deal with problems because nobody likes dealing with problems. The only solution is God himself is going to save us, which is good because he will save us. He's promised us, we're in the year that Kabbalah teaches us that this year, according to Rabbi Yitzchak, will be the resurrection of the dead. I asked a very spiritual woman who has access, there are people that are able to see things. Tell me, when's Mashiach coming? She said that this Rosh Hashanah, she had a vision. I know her well. She's normal. She's sane. She saw her family members, her ancestors coming towards her. And she said, what's going on? She said, Chias HaMesim has begun. So spiritually, Rosh Hashanah is the time that what's going to happen in the year is decided. So it has been decided really from the beginning of the time, but certainly this Rosh Hashanah, that we will experience. And as I've written 2 books on Mashiach, one of them, the Rebbe on Mashiach, everything that the Rebbe said and published the last year, so I have a little bit of an expertise on the subject. From the perspective of the Rebbe, the first step of Mashiach, or the great revelation of Mashiach, is Tchias HaMesim. We will have the resurrection of the dead this year. I don't know exactly when, but that's going to change the world, just like Egypt. Jews coming out of Egypt changed the world in a very huge way, but in a way that you could question it. Well, this is going to be on video. The Rebbe I heard the Rebbe said that part of the reason for the development of technology is that when basically Mashiach comes, these miracles will be seen by the entire world. This will not be doubted. There'll be no more questions, who's right, who's wrong. Islam, at least the crazy parts of Islam, will give up their war. Everybody's going to give up their war because the Mashiach, the great messenger of God, is going to unite the entire world, and everybody's going to see the truth, see it in front of their eyes. And from our perspective, now what I want to say, this was all an introduction to what I want to say. If you're still with me now, God bless you, you're an amazing person. What I wanted to say is that ultimately, and again, because I've written the book, and anybody that's gone through the material, I've taken out quotes of almost all the talks the Rebbe the last 4 years, the most amazing talks. And ultimately, it all boils down to this point. If I want to quote somebody that's smarter and greater than me and actually recorded these talks and he wrote them down, Rabbi Simon Jacobs, and I asked him, what was the Rebbe's point in all of these talks? And he said a consciousness shift. We have to understand that we're entering into a new, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand. Those people that believe in Mashiach, those people that may not believe in Mashiach, whatever it may be, a lot of people don't get this point. The point is that we're entering into a new consciousness, a new way of living It's not, oh wow, it's the Mashiach is coming and we're going to have the, I don't know, goodies and this and that, the same person with more goodies. No, you become a new person. The world becomes a new world. And ultimately, I don't want to speak too long. I've spoken on the subject a long time in many different forums. But the bottom line is that it is the merger of the divine consciousness and the human consciousness. What makes a human is that you're conscious. If you're not conscious, your heart could be beating, but you wouldn't exactly call yourself you. You are the collection of your thoughts, your emotions, and as that comes together in one beautiful little soup, which is called you. And then, of course, there is the divine consciousness that exists at every moment. Every moment, that consciousness creates you. It enables you to perceive the world. The world is a concealment of the divine to allow you to have that independent consciousness. But that God consciousness did not dissipate for a moment. If it did, nothing would exist. If I said the screen that you're looking at is coming from the computer, at least the computer chip that's making it, you say, of course. What would happen if you took away the computer chip, no screen? If you took away the divine consciousness, the divine and the divine consciousness and the energy that creates all of matter every moment, nothing would exist. That means every single moment, the divine and his consciousness and his flow of energy to create everything, including my body and my soul that comes into my body, and this consciousness that is me, that is being created from his consciousness every moment. And his consciousness, if you want to use examples of Google or AI, his consciousness can merge with my consciousness. When I use AI, I'm taking some of its consciousness, some of my consciousness, and we kind of merge something together. It's like a marriage. And that's what's going on in the world. 62% of the world believe that they have this connection to God. Now, here's the punchline. The punchline is, can you live in harmony? The goal of marriage is not to get married. That's the easy part. As I like to say, God brings you together. Whether you stay together is up to you. The hard part is living in harmony, living in coalescence with one another. This is very important what I'm saying, because ultimately, Mashiach is not about another world. It's about a new consciousness or a higher consciousness in this world. It's about being able to be you in this world, about everyone having a greater connection to God and living their best selves all the time. And because God is infinite, we can always infinitely learn more. Every Shabbos we can go higher. And that's why this Shabbos Bereshis is so important, because we just spent an entire month filled with Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Simchas Torah, all these elevated times and moments. But it boils down, can you live that? You can date, and you can have this great relationship, and you can get married, and it's wonderful, and you can have 7 days of celebration like the 7 days of Sukkot. But can you actually get along on a day-to-day life? And as we see, most people can't. 50% divorce rates by millennials, and 70% of divorce rate. People don't know how to get along. They don't know how to be themselves and with another and live that lifestyle of integration. I saw my niece today. I said to her, she was telling me she just came to Jerusalem and Israel and seminary, so exciting and all that stuff. I said to her, remember, because, all this time being spent in high spiritual, remember, God made a soul in a body. You can't neglect your body. This is a soul in a body. You're one. And that's the thing. It's not about running into the Himalayas. This cute joke, this Jewish grandmother from Kansas City goes, to see the guru in Tibet. And, it takes 3 days to climb the mountain. She says, I'd like to speak to the guru. They say, we're sorry. He's on a vow of silence. He hasn't spoken to anybody for 3 years. She says, don't worry. I just want to tell him 3 words. And they have this, convocation, 3 days and nights. Can she speak to the guru? They said, okay, you know what? All she wants to say is 3 words. It's not so bad. He doesn't have to answer. So she comes into the room, and there's incense, and he's in the lotus position. He's been meditating for 2 years straight. So she says, come home, Jaime. In other words, some people, they leave this reality. But if God is truly infinite, he can be God and you can be you, and the two of you can be together and you can dance for eternity. You can always be in this world and get information from a higher source and always grow and always be connected to yourself, to others. It all can happen at the same time. If God is God, all realities can simultaneously take place. And one doesn't contradict the other. One complements the other. This is the ultimate unity, the ultimate connection. It's the idea that And this Shabbos is when we're putting this into practice. This week, Friday, is the day that we think about, how did my past couple of days after Simchas Torah, how did I do? Was I integrated? That's the whole thing of life, to be an integrated person. And that's the thing is, don't get stressed out about life. There's an infinite journey ahead of you, and God is with you every step of the way. And our job is just to allow God, what do they say? Let go, let God. But we say it better. Be God. Allow that inspiration to permeate you. Take that deep breath, and we're going to conclude with a little meditation. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and breathe in God. We're in Tzfat, the holy city. Breathe in spirituality and let go of all your fears and your anxieties. And now, ask yourself a question. How do I want to exist? How do I want my feelings to feel? How do I want my thoughts to be? Do I want to be stressed in life? Or do I want to be able to trust that God is with me? That even if there's some chaos outside of me, it says 1,000 will fall on the right, 1,000 left, but I will fear nothing because God is with me. We Jewish people, we've seen it all, but we've existed through it all because God has taken us by the hand. He says, I am your God. God is your personal God. Being unlimited, He is your personal God. And therefore, we are in a beautiful, infinite dance for eternity. Let us know that this year we will see the complete annihilation of evil forever. We'll see the complete redemption, the complete, most importantly, integration, the ability of us to live our complete self, a godly being on this planet, a merger, a dance, a symphony for eternity. Thank you for watching.